Peace, HHDG. We're on another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. Big shout out to everyone tuning in right now through our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook group, HHDG, Hip Hop Discussion Group. As always, as you can see from the bottom banner, you have our website there, hhdgmedia.com, where you can find latest music. We put up our interviews from the past on there, merch, and upcoming events. As always, shout out to everyone that makes this possible. That is our company, HHDG Media Inc., which consists of Rock Vader KB, Skelly Top, the Mayor, T. Smith, and myself, Wiki. For tonight, we have a very talented individual, originally from the birthplace of hip hop. And I'm sure he's got plenty of stories, being born and bred from there along throughout his journey. And with his journey, he's networked with some definitely notable people throughout his journey. And with his journey, those skills have come into play. And he had a certain people that worked with him to help him get those skills even further, and at the same time give him a way to think outside the box of what most of us normally do, and also allow his skills to flourish even further to what they may not have been if certain people didn't come into his life. But the rest is pretty much all him with his production talents and the recording as well, add more to his resume of skills. But along with this journey wasn't just hip hop music, but certain placements, which we'll definitely talk about with some major networks. Definitely something that interests me that I didn't know too much about. And he is hot off the heels of a recently produced project titled It Takes a Village with Charlotte MC J Plus that came out on August 8th of this year. And I know aside from that, he has his own projects like Taurus, the Thump Collection. He's worked with Midas the Beast, ST Knack. This is just, a few people we're going to be talking about. But again, you can't have a journey without having necessary people that are in your life at particular times. And I'm sure he gives that salute to those people during those times. And we're going to definitely speak on that as well. So without further ado, repping the BX as well as Central Florida, Sharp, all caps.
I mean, peace.
Peace.
All right, pleasure to be doing this, man. Give thanks.
Absolutely,
Gratitude,
definitely.
Grateful for the opportunity.
Now, the reason I brought up Journey is, not many people have been able to be in certain areas the way you have, and not just learn, but another part of that is when someone sees that you have a particular talent, let take them under your wing, show them a little bit more and have them think out the box, challenge the mind.
1000%. Indeed. And speaking on that, definitely want to along the journey, give shouts to the people who were there, the core people. You can start with my man KK Holiday. Met him when I was in the 10th grade, so first year of high school.
Okay.
It was the first year of high school. Moving to Florida from the Bronx, one of the interesting facts, the high school kind of started at 10th grade. I mean, technically ninth grade was still, high school, but the ninth graders went to school with the junior high school kids.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10th grade was kind of technically my first year at a high school coming out here. And yeah, got to meet KK Holiday. He was a year out of high school, so he had just graduated the year before. Very interesting. I kind of met him in a battle situation. People have been telling me about him. And this is DJing. People have been telling me about it and whatnot. And I finally got to go to a party where he was at.
Mm-hmm.
And people had kind of just set up the battle on the spot, unbeknownst, like, hey, you two are here. You guys got to get it on. And I did my thing and whatnot. And immediately after, he just kind of asked me, like, hey, you free next weekend? And that was pretty much it, man. Kind of took off from there. He kind of took me under the wing and not to say became a manager, but definitely managed, my DJ situation from there. Started DJing out of town and, DJing in clubs that I wasn't even, old enough to get into as a patron. So things kind of really took off, with him, stepping up and saying, all right, you with me, let's go. And yeah, that event carried on to Atlanta. He ended up being a radio personality on Hot 97 in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I finished high school, kind of got with him, got out there, and things kind of took off on a production level. That was the first time I got to see any real equipment. He had an MPC 3000, things like that. Yeah, so being able to spend that time locked in and setting goals as far as like, all right, this is where I need to be, kind of meeting people that were already at a comfortable level in production and DJing and stuff. So big up to KK Holiday, man. He was the first person to really take me under, bring me out there and meet everybody, so to speak.
Absolutely. That's dope. That's dope.
Indeed.
So as far as DJing, who influenced you to start?
Well, I guess you could say it started with the radio DJs in New York City, late 80s. So, we're talking Red Alert, Marley Marl, Pete Rock, of course, because I knew that he was young. And I kind of I was aware of his name prior to like knowing that he was like producing like that. So it was kind of like as a DJ. But yeah, just taping, the mix shows every weekend. And this is kind of even before I even like saw it visually. I mean, outside of like, the Run DMC performance and something like that, you never really got to hone in. You're kind of watching everything all together. But yeah, man, taping those shows and just kind of imagining myself doing whatever it was they were doing until I can actually like, see, DJs at a party and think like, okay, yeah, that's what I want to be doing there. But yeah, it's just really the first mix show DJs, like I say, Red Alert, Marley Marl, Pete Rock, that really inspired me to, hearing what they were doing with the music and saying like, all right, yeah, this is what I want to be doing right here.
Got you. And again, being from the birthplace.
I mean, it kind of happened naturally, man. I mean, we're talking, you go outside, you play, then you come back upstairs, get your tape ready, tune the dial in. And I mean, it's honestly pictures of, me, we're talking like 8, 9 years old, just headphones on, standing next to the radio, just kind of taping everything. And thank God for the cassette. You know what I mean? The cassette was like the first medium for me to really be able to explore hip hop music and work with it and stuff like that. Everything started with the cassette tape. So between that and radio, like I said, it was just kind of a natural happenstance. And then I wasn't the only one. You go back downstairs next day, everybody's talking about what was played, trading tapes and stuff like that. So, like you said, being of the culture in a place where everything was brewing just really helped me to kind of lock in without having to go out my way.
Right, yeah. And just that moment of you saying about going downstairs and speaking with others. That's how it was for me going into high school.
Oh yeah, by the time we're in high school, and again, it's kind of still like a regional thing where I was going to high school in Central Florida. It was, I guess you could say, it was very slow. So you have your, people coming in from the tri-state, bringing new tapes. Those were the hot commodities right there. Someone just coming back or getting a tape sent. And so, luckily I was, one of those people constantly going back home, coming back, having tapes, that were just, fresh out and stuff like that. And yeah, that was key, pretty much, those mixtapes.
I remember those times too, because we used to try and trade tapes of who had the exclusive and who didn't.
Oh yeah, man, exclusives. That was really the whole thing, man. Even outside of radio, I remember 92 coming back with that double R14. So much stuff was on there that hadn't been out yet, and not in like the Clue sense of exclusives, but because like on double R, for instance, songs would just play, and you would just kind of hear it. If you didn't know who it was, you look at it and read the artist title and whatnot. But yeah, for instance, they had when Black Moon dropped Who Got the Props, the video version and everything didn't have 5FT's verse, but the double R tape did. So like a lot of people first hearing Who Got the Props around here, were used to 5FT. So by the time the video had came out and they did like a proper release, they were missing that verse. So that's things like that would happen, and then people would kind of give me, props like, "Oh, yo, you had the the exclusive, or the version that didn't drop."
Yeah, that was like maxi singles having crazy B-sides and stuff like that.
B-sides, all
I used to rock that all the time on the Walkman.
Yes, indeed, man, constantly.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your dancing background.
Oh man, that's technically where it really all started. I mean, my dating back, my first expression of hip hop was breakdancing. Before anything like that, even before beatboxing, I could breakdance. So from that to, again, once I moved to Florida, the friends that I made and the people that I connected with, you form your first rap group, and that was pretty much my position. It was just like I enjoyed dancing, and that was back then in the era where the school dance and stuff like that. And if you couldn't dance, you was kind of like a square. You know what I mean? Like that. That was a way to really like express yourself. Garner some attention, get some props and whatnot, and get your name out there. So during that time. And then again, you could watch the videos and stuff, stuff like Dr. Ice and things where the dance routines would take up, the majority of the video, and we're just sitting there studying and, trying to break down those routines and stuff. And, anybody who was anybody had dancers. So, it was definitely a integral part then. And, before I had equipment or anything like that, that's what I had gravitated to.
Got you. And, being of Puerto Rican and Dominican descent, I already know because my two sons have Puerto Rican. I've grown up around them as well, so I know
they got to dance.
It's in them.
Yeah, even family time or whatever, grandma, aunt, somebody's gonna want to dance, put you on the spot, and even to the point where they're gonna make fun of you if you can't or don't dance. So on all levels, yeah, dancing was always part.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So what was your main goal in, because part of your journey was also Atlanta?
Correct.
What was going on at this time that you decided from NY to Atlanta?
Yeah, so this was around 97. After 96, 97, I spent 96 in New York, fresh out of high school, not necessarily like pursuing anything, hardcore, up until, came back here in KK Holiday, as I mentioned before, had the setup in Atlanta. So again, took us under, me and my man Rec Low, just kind of moved up there. And that was just the thing, again, we're sitting here in Central Florida, very, small town. Things are moving very slow. Atlanta, was kind of like where things were bubbling at the time. Eric Sermon had just gotten out there, and, he just started finding all these elite New York artists that were setting up camp out there, and Too Short was setting up out there, and, getting to see everybody, meet everybody through the, radio station and whatnot. That was just like a real inspiring time. I wouldn't say, we were out there with a direct goal. We were just there making music kind of on demand. And again, around that time, a lot of main producers and production companies, if you could say, were just kind of taking in all types of young talent, put them up in the studio, let them work, and then, if a hit is made or the great ideas used, they'll just lift that and stuff. So I was kind of part of one of those camps. Luckily, we had Chris Lover, who ended up becoming Ludacris. He was also, down with us and whatnot. So it was just kind of like a hub for creativity and just kind of being out there, I guess you could say, learning the ropes and being able to spend time with the equipment, learning what you're doing and just kind of organizing. So it was just a real absorbing experience, during that time. We we're still fresh off the porch. We didn't know what we was doing.
Yeah, that's great. So if you listening to your story, you were in the Bronx at the time, and then in Atlanta you at a time, a whole hotbed of everything coming together.
Yeah, everything is kind of, working in tandem. I mean, you can honestly say, I was born in 1977, so, my life just kind of parallels with hip hop, just kind of really becoming a thing beyond, inner city culture and whatnot. 97 Atlanta, come back in 98, spend that time in Florida, and then maybe like 4 or 5 years later, I'm back in New York City, by 2002.
So what was some of your early production equipment that was being used?
I've always been favored to the Akai equipment. The first Akai sampler we had was the S20. That was kind of like like a rack mount situation. Wasn't too flexy or whatever. It was like a very small version of the S950. And from there, working on the MPC 3000 with KK Holiday. Once he changed that out for the MPC 2000, I pretty much started, picking up and working on that. And the 2000 is the first MPC I end up like buying and owning. Shortly after the 2000 XL came out. But yeah, I was pretty much using the MPC 2000. Bought mine in 1999 and was using that steadily up until about I think that's like 2006, 2005, 2006. So that's using outboard gear has always been like my core thing. I was really late to the whole computer thing, and I might just be coming up on 10 years of Pro Tools experience. Like I said, I started very late. Like everybody was already recording on computers and everything like that, and I was just still, making beats on outboard gear. But it all started with Akai stuff. Like I said, the MPC 2000. From there, the MPC 2500 and so on. Now I work on the MPC 1, the MPC 1 currently.
Okay, so would you consider yourself tech savvy back then?
Not at all, because honestly, looking back, I look at how I used to use the MPC in my first like 2 or 3 years, and it was very. I mean, it was brutal, just to say the least. Not really knowing my way around the machine, just kind of knowing how to do what I like needed to do or wanted to do, and going from there. Never really exploring. I've never read an MPC manual or anything like that. So no, like I said, and like I just said, I was late to the whole computer thing and whatnot. So while we were using computers, I've been online since AOL and all of that, but not for music. As it works with the music, it was just a very crude kind of get it to do what I wanted to do, and then just kind of leave it at that. I didn't really explore too much. I look back at it now and think like there was so much I could have done either easier or maybe earlier, that things that I started to develop with and whatnot that took a long time. But again, I just never had that tech savvy, okay, let me find out what this does and all of that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've always been a tinkerer and a builder. So, used to be, the model planes and cars and stuff I used to put together that I would, my parents used to probably like maybe once a month for a while. I was getting them in the mail,
Nice.
I love that.
No, and I remember that, and I remember my man Saran used to put those together and whatnot, and always fascinated me, whatever. But I just never, as a youngin, I just never had the discipline and the patience to really sit with stuff like that. I mean, the first thing I ever took apart was a Walkman, and the goal then was to try to get it to play louder. So we would like turn the volume all the way up, open it, and then you would get that extended amount of volume. Then you could close it back up, and your joints would be dumb loud. You'd be on the bus. People were like, "Yo, how did you get it that?" But so yeah, little things like that. And even before that, like opening up GI Joes, changing the the leg bottoms with the top, and once you figure out how they're put together. So little things like that where, like I said, I may have sparked that kind of interest. Yeah. So it was kind of there, but again, there's just so many things, in my teen years and early 20s that I just didn't have the discipline to just kind of sit down, stop, and be like, okay, hold on, let me really, get into it like that. I was always
maintain that patience with it,
moving around and living and stuff like that. So it took a while for me to kind of develop that, that discipline to lock in.
Gotcha. Yeah. I used to start doing the same thing when my remote control cars were breaking. Just take them apart,
see what it is. Yeah, no, and then like I said, I think I don't want to say like every kid, but I mean the boys without internet before we had phones and real computer access. That's what we got into, man. Let me open this up, find a screwdriver. Once you first get one of those really smaller screwdrivers, gave you just access to a whole nother world. So yeah, it was in me there, but I just never really locked in like that.
So tell us now how getting your degree in music production unlocked a whole new world.
Well, yeah, there was a time where I don't want to say things seemed stagnant, but right coming into like the blog era, it was just a real weird thing because like you could see the demise of the whole label structure and whatnot, but we didn't really see streaming coming in like that. So it was just a kind of a weird place of how you get on, what I mean, and what the situation was. So that just kind of led me to really start exploring what I could do with the music other than like just giving dudes beats to rap to. And going down that wormhole, and you start to watch TV and realize that everything has like a beat at least behind it. There's always just like a beat playing, or some kind of music that playing in almost every commercial, everything. So with that, you get the urge to kind of pick up on some music theory, things like that. And at the time, like I said, I didn't want to commit to being like a recording engineer or a mix engineer or anything aside from music producing. So getting the production degree was really something to where I could just kind of learn the 101s, the do's and don'ts, and just get that kind of like over the shoulder kind of knowledge to where I know just enough about all of that to know when it's being done right or wrong. And to kind of get it done myself, at the most basic level, if I need to mix a song or something like that. So that was really the goal with that, where it was just like, let me just get something concrete to say like, all right, I've gone over this, going over that, going over this, and then now I can apply all of that back to the music production. And I must say, like, that really helped being able to like structure instrumental songs and whatnot in order to lead to like sync licensing and stuff like that, and just kind of have the beats ready for an opportunity like that when it came.
Definitely.
And that it was something where, again, I don't want to say it fell into my lap, but it was very late where and I always had friends, producer friends who were were getting beats placed, in all types of TV situations and whatnot. But again, I just never pursued it, and it was always, not to say like this top secret thing, but there was always this air of like, if you know, but there was nobody kind of helping out to reach out and say, hey, I know a music publisher, let me help you get on and get some beats. So it's one of those things where I kind of had to unlock all of that just by, doing my due diligence and getting myself up to a better standard, even, like making my wax stuff kind of like proficient and usable, so maybe like you can't rap over it, but there's definitely a opportunity for this to kind of live somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you moved to Florida, I mentioned Midas the Beast in the intro.
Right.
Who else at this time, being in the whole Central Florida Ozone area, did you begin to start linking with?
Coming up out here, I came up with my man Critical of Critical Madness fame.
Critical Madness, yeah,
indeed. So I've known Critical for years and years. He I don't want to say the year, but like maybe at the turn of the millennium, so like 2099, 2000-ish, roughly after he started venturing out to Orlando. And just meeting like-minded individuals. He was already a friend of Da Vinci from Soliloquist of Sound. He also does MPC work for Lauryn Hill. So there were like some key players that ended up being key players, but like all these guys were just kind of brewing out here and just kind of doing their thing. We all kind of knew each other, 6 degrees of separation. There was this thing that they held at the University of Central Florida called the Hush Show. So this was like this all-encapsulating hip-hop event. You would see breakers there. Dudes would be doing artwork, graffiti and all of that. They had MCs, obviously, and DJs and whatnot. So again, it was a pretty crazy thing. Going there is pretty much the start of me meeting Midas the Beast, Zarism, I Make Mad Beats, X144, just a lot of the key people that were my man Swanberger, Soliloquist, and just a lot of players that were there. They were just kind of there early. So that's where I kind of got to meet them right before everybody really kind of branched off and started doing their thing. Got to meet Midas, and again, that was just kind of meeting him. I met him. I was DJing, and even in that capacity, I always had like a lot of the records, like the samples that were used and whatnot. And so even if I didn't have the instrumental, say for like Verbal Intercourse, I didn't have the instrumental, but I had the original, and I would just kind of backspin that loop because it's basically just a loop. So I would just kind of backspin that. So at that time, and again, people were still using records. This was before Serato. So, having stuff like that and even having exclusive records, I had like a Old Dirty Bastard album on instrumental and things like that, where I could play certain beats that, a lot of people weren't used to having access to rap to. So, so that's, I could say that was kind of like how I really met him. He would kind of, once he noticed that, he would kind of come to me and be like, hey, save that one for me, or try to figure out what else did I have in the, in the crates there to kind of tap into. And and that just kind of led to, being able to meet him more so as a friend. And again, organically, some of the same people that we knew would kind of hit him up, hear what the stuff that he was trying to do and be like, hey, you should check Sharp, you should listen to, Sharp beats and whatnot. And then it finally all clicked right before Loops, where even the first project we worked on was more of, I used to do my beat tapes kind of like that, like they were already albums. And then I would just kind of, share that and whatnot. So he kind of wanted to do an album that sounded the way my beat tapes were put together. So I kind of helped construct that. And he was already rapping over very similar beats to the production I was doing at the time. So, it all kind of worked out and just kind of really, took off from there. Me and him were able to lock in again, first as friends, and then, having this super awesome work relationship with the beats and raps.
There you go. I remember when Loops came out too. That was about just over a decade.
Almost 10
now,
years.
Right?
Yeah, just over a decade. Yeah, 2012ish. Yeah. And again, and the scape of where things were, was still kind of shifting because again, the blogs were still around and things were going into where they're going to be now.
Yeah.
So we kind of started with that in a weird space, and even that was kind of a culmination of the stuff that he had been doing maybe for like the last 2 or 3 years. So a lot of that stuff that became prevalent, like the drumless, backgrounds and things like that. We had been through that kind of like for years already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I interviewed Zarism, I remember he also was talking about Hush. So, and
Okay,
I
yeah, yeah,
love to
yeah.
hear more and more people talk about it. I think that is an important history of Orlando that a lot more people need to know about.
Thousand percent, man. The Hush Show, big up to and I couldn't tell you who's responsible for creating the Hush Show or who put it together. But peace to everybody involved, peace to Santiago Skills and a couple other cats that, allowed me to kind of come in and get busy. And again, it was something big for me because again, being a small town where I'm at, we still had to drive, 45 minutes up the way just to kind of get there and experience that. So it kind of gave us something to kind of, lead into and be like, all right, we want to be a part of this. You can meet some people here, people that were on a lower level. But again, people like Zara, like at that time, Zarism already had a record out, like, that he had put out himself and everything. So again, to kind of see it in your face, be able to buy records from artists that were like, kind of standing right there that not
Yeah.
everybody knew about. That was beautiful. So that really was the inspiration right there, especially locally. So, once again, peace to everybody involved with the Hush.
Absolutely. Definitely. And we can't leave out around this time your debut, the Thump collection.
Correct. The Thump collection, man. Funny story. There was a KRS show in Orlando right around that time that released, and I had one copy CD in my pocket. And at the end of his show, once he was doing like the little meet and greet situation, I kind of gave him the CD, and I guess he assumed it was to sign, and he signed the cover. And I was like, "Oh man, but that was for you." So he legit opened it, took the CD out, put it in his pocket, and then gave me back the case since he had signed it. So like the case is right there, signed and whatnot. And then he in exchange, I got the KRS signature in exchange for the Thumb Collection CD. But yeah, and that was really the first time I had used Bandcamp. That was the first time I had ever considered like putting out a body of work completely on my own, without anybody really being behind it or anything like that. And even that, MCs like Alias the Addict and a couple other dudes that I ended up working with was a direct result of them hearing the Thumb Collection CD. So yeah, that was pretty monumental in the sense of that was my first, breakout. Like, okay, I'm gonna put music out, all on my own. No label,
Yeah.
nothing like that. See how this Bandcamp thing works and just kind of really, do it all up. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, any bumps in the road, throughout what we've been talking about so far in your life at this time that
I mean, aside from the regular, just life catching up and the hurdles that are associated with that, there was again, I came up the whole time, I guess you could say, in a group, like amongst close friends that I always envisioned doing this with, making beats and rapping with. I never, as good as things ever got, I never visioned doing this like in a solo capacity or just as me, doing my thing. I always had, people around me that I always saw with me, at this stage. So yeah, the bumps being just having to start holding these people that you again vision at the end of the road kind of accountable and kind of raising the standard, especially working with individuals like Midas the Beast, who are dedicated, masters of the craft kind of situation. And as with anything, you want to really just surround yourself with people like-minded goals and passionate about what they're doing and whatnot. So when you have these situations where the people that you really want to do it with aren't as passionate about it or whatever, these could be moments where you kind of have to make a decision to push through and keep it going. And yeah, I mean, aside from that, again, I was always just a very, I'm not like a leader, like, go take charge kind of dude or whatever. I was always just kind of part of the thing going on. So that, again, like not having the people that I envisioned having around me like that, it took a lot for me to just kind of reset, kind of refocus and find a play, in the whole game. So, that and just the regular, the Apple OS doesn't work with all of your equipment anymore. So you gotta like do the wild upgrade and all of that. And also I worked for about 8 years at a sneaker store. So coming to a point where you kind of have to balance, are you gonna do like this or are you gonna do that? You know what I mean? And
Okay.
Trying to come to terms with the whole, are you going to work while you do your music thing, or are you going to do your music thing as if you were working? You know what I mean? I always kind of saw it as something where, not to, again, never to shame anybody, working or whatever, because that's definitely the way to go. But I always thought if you applied that same energy to the music or whatever it is you really wanted to do, it would work. And not to make it sound so easy, but you know how it is. Like someone, oh man, I got to get a job, and they know exactly what to do, and whether they got to clean up, put some gear on or whatever, and walk the walk, and then you're in the interview and you know how to talk and everything, and 10 times out of 10 you land the job. You know what I mean? Like when you really put your mind to it, to be like, oh man, I gotta get this job, and then you go get the job. And that wasn't really in your control, wasn't in your hands, but just I think the mentality, the focus, and the way you just like every day,
that type
like
of confidence,
that confidence, and I've seen brothers kind of change their whole routine based on a job, and it works at the end of the day. And my thing is, I think that same energy would work whatever you applied it to. You know what I mean? And again, it's not going to be that every Friday guaranteed check kind of thing, situation. But again, you can kind of manage, man. I started listening to a lot of like Ryan Leslie interviews at the time or whatever, and a lot of things just kind of made sense. If even starting with like 500 or 1,000 core fans, with that 1,000 right there, if they all gave you $40 in the year, that's $40K. That's a part-time job in a lot of small town situations. So, you know what I mean? Like just looking at simple numbers like that and thinking like, all right, this is definitely doable. It's not like trying to, land on the moon or whatever. So if you just apply that job energy, towards, what you really want to be doing, I don't think anything can stop you, So those were hurdles. Yeah. Just really trying to make those kind of decisions, not having the experience. And again, hip hop was new, so my peoples, as much as they wanted to support me, they couldn't support hip hop. You know what I mean? So it was just like, make sure you have something else or this, as good as I could be doing. I could tell my mom, hey, I did a song for Jay-Z, and she'd be like, oh, that's cool. Well, make sure you blah, 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 you know what I mean? To kind of cover, because that our peoples aren't going to see it. We're the first generation of this whole thing.
Yeah.
So
I know that story.
Having to really, having to really push through, when even the people that really want to support you don't see the exact vision. And those hurdles, it's going to come back to be a hurdle, throughout, separate moments, depending on who you're with and through relationships and whatnot. I'm blessed to have a strong woman by my side and whatnot, and it's the little things like that really bring you towards success and whatnot.
A proper foundation. And being that you said that support, sometimes they with their own mind see a particular thing that you don't see it that way. And that sparks, those little sparks right there can be monumental.
1,000%. No, agree. Super agree. Yeah, man. You kind of need that other perspective, but in your corner.
Yeah.
And sometimes that'll really help a lot.
Now the two of us can relate because my mentor in DJing was my uncle, and this was preteens, and it got to the point where, like most of us understand, carrying crates, carrying the equipment before you was able to okay, you're going to
Even
go
play
and
records anywhere.
yeah,
Correct.
exactly. Yeah. But with that, also experiencing different places to play in the projects, in the apartment building, at the community center, in a little club, a hole in the wall, and then sometimes might be, somebody's wedding or birthday party outdoors. You know, DJing is a grind in itself, the whole process of
For
it.
sure. For
And
sure.
if you ain't got it, you're not gonna continue to make it.
No, I mean it's what I do now professionally. Like, if someone was to ask me, what I do for work, it's
Hmm.
DJing. I'm blessed to be able to do, what I love, but it is work,
Yeah.
and again, it's also working in a new space. I say that to say, when I was in my, mid to late 20s going out, there wasn't a DJ in his mid 40s. You know what I mean? Being able to keep up and play, and even the scope of music, like, right now, I can play some early 50 Cent, and that's like 20 years old, like a real 20 years. Me going out again, late 90s, someone playing something that was 20 years old, it's a whole nother genre. There wasn't even
Yeah.
enough hip hop, to go back. So we're in a whole new space right now to be able to just kind of explore and live and whatnot. So I just really kind of anchor in on that to say, like, my job didn't even exist, X amount of years ago. Like, there was DJs at a professional level, but
Yep.
just not at my age in the space that I'm in now. Like, this job just wasn't even available, 20 years ago. So again, just kind of working at it and really trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Because we're the first now, but yeah, and it all started from DJing, and anything that I do in production just stems from the exercise of DJing, and what we were talking about earlier, like everything, being on the Walkman, headphones, like everything that you're hearing is pressed up on your ear,
Yep.
direct, going straight to the brain. Every morning, however many school days there are, like that many mornings of just hip hop being drilled into the brain. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so yeah, it all stems from DJing being the exercise. And the first time I was able to loop something or anything like that aside from the pause tapes was through DJing. And to this day, I'm able to just kind of do what I do comfortably,
Yeah. Yeah.
securing a job through DJing. So yes, the
And
DJing
enjoying what you're
is the number
doing.
one thing.
Yeah.
For sure, man. It's a blessing.
So you got to tell the people the story of your residency as a DJ and just the feeling of being able to DJ in one place
Oh, for
and
sure.
knowing that that's what you're able to do.
And again, when you said some of the bumps and grinds or whatever, I hadn't, as long as I've been DJing, I hadn't had a residency till very late in my career. Maybe like dating back to like 2016 ish, around that time, whatever. So it took a very long time. And mind you, this is not from me steadily, pursuing it and working at it 100%, but through the opportunities again, there's maybe like less than a handful of DJs. My man Crown Prince, DJ Coleon, my man K Vaughn, DJ Beatty, and my man Grim. So yeah, a handful of people that these are people that I kind of saw it in them as I was able to kind of progress and do my thing. And these are the
Yeah.
guys, like, they would suggest the mix and I would say, oh no, you do it, and kind of thing. And with them being successful DJs, I kind of prided myself in, I was kind of batting 1,000 with anybody that I took the time to, and not even having to mentor, but, giving them the space, allowing them to mix and become who they are, and the little bit of guidance and correction. And now, these are DJs that live in Dubai, Vegas, and, they're just able to, play wherever and stuff like that. So yeah, one of those DJs, a younger guy, my man Coleon, he actually was the resident DJ in Cocoa Village, where I'm at now. He was getting ready to make the move to Dubai, and so there was a couple times, I kind of, trailed with him, got to play on a couple of his nights,
Mm-hmm.
and when the time came, he kind of introduced me to the management and everybody there, and he kind of passed it off to me to say, like, all right, you go ahead and hold it down. And he left the States, so I owe it all to Coleon as far as being where I'm at. And yeah, being able to again work those relationships. These are the management and everybody in place kind of saw me from the ground level, they don't know my history or anything, but they saw me kind of being there, being around, being ready, filling in whenever he was gone, and just kind of finally, to the point now where, they done, the spot that I'm at now is actually the second place that they've owned, and they kind of built it with me in mind. You know what I mean? So they went from he's just a DJ to this is our DJ. So it's a very secure feeling, when you work those relationships for a long time, and those people end up, seeing their vision through, and their vision involved you. So again, just kind of have to play your part, keep it up, and yeah, man, not to say it fell in my lap, but again, just I've known Corleone over 20 years, 30 years, so it's great that I have those opportunities given to me by people that I would give the same opportunities to.
Great. Can you tell us how you met ST-Nack?
ST-Nack. So I was the first time I heard ST-Nack's music, I want to say was the it was one of the early Mini Mansion collabs that they did.
Okay.
And then very shortly after, I guess right around the time I picked up on Aldovino, I heard the Triple Black Diamonds, and that's what kind of really tuned me in. Found out he was Spanish, and everything like that. And actually, again, this was a long while back. He had put out that he was doing features, right, for a very, very, very low price. And so I reached out, kind of following up on that. And once he heard some of the stuff that I was offering or whatever, he offered to do more than just what was set aside for the feature.
Okay.
So again, this was all through internet, back and forth and whatnot. He agreed to that, blessed me with the 3 songs, put the 2 out, as a single on my own. Actually, Grubby, Peace to Grubby Paws.
Yes, indeed.
He did the first run of cassettes on that, and then I had it on my Bandcamp and now on my website and whatnot. So yeah, there you go. Certain delegators have the actual cassettes right in hand. So yeah, that's a really rare and exclusive cassette, man. Like I said, it's been recently pulled off streaming. So anybody that's tapped in watching that now, you're gonna want to go to the website to be one of the exclusive few there. And yeah, that was actually the first cassette tape release that I had done as well. Was the ST-Nack single right there. So that was so you're holding the first cassette release that I've ever put out there.
There you go. And I'm gonna put that link in the comments for everyone to definitely go check that out.
Indeed, man. Pick that up. Exclusive rare stuff, man. Haven't heard anybody that thought it was whack. And it's crazy. Nack almost literally kind of took off from the moment we dropped that right there. Things just was really moving in the right direction for him.
Yeah.
Like a year and a half later, he ended up on one of the Hitler joints and just kind of, really went off fire from there. So
yeah.
I'm really glad he kept up. I was recently able to see him get busy at the cookout too. A couple weeks ago.
Tell the people a little bit about the cookout. I didn't get a chance to make it, but
yeah. So I guess I'll give the full review here. Exclusive, sharp 2-day review. Was fortunate enough to see both events. So day one was actually the VIP event they did at his building. So that was pretty crazy. If you know New York, it was right there on Westchester in the Bronx. And it was literally the building that he grew up in. So, he had the lobby decked out with the art.
That's fire.
People performing right there in front of the door. Like if you lived in a building, you got to get escorted like right through the show. Chase Fetty just rapping and you're getting escorted into the building. But again, a beautiful thing to see. I was there maybe like 3 hours. From what I understand, cops maybe came shortly after I left. Not really anything crazy, just kind of like, okay, gotta, break it up. And again, very understandable because at the end of the day, it wasn't a venue, it was like a residential building.
Yeah.
And even from when I went before it got dark, it was very noticeable, people spilling out to the block. And I think like buildings that were next to it kind of, even if they didn't know what was going on, they just was like, oh, okay, we'll just chill. So, it just became a very crazy thing on that whole, block. But at the end of the day, very peaceful. Rappers came out there, it was a good opportunity, to see dudes do their thing and whatnot, hear some dope stuff. And then there was the actual cookout too, which was the day 2 event. I want to say the name of the spot was Bronxlandia.
Yeah,
somewhere in Hunts Point in the Bronx. So this was like a venue, but not a known venue. I don't think anybody had done anything there recently, or not that I know about. So I pulled up. To be fair, maybe it was a little after 9, so it was late, but not late. From what I knew, Jay Nice was set to perform, after that time, and then I assumed that ST-Nack and Stove God would follow. So I didn't expect to miss anything. When I got there was a very heavy police presence, but again, nothing offensive. Like it wasn't a lot of get out of here energy. Like when I saw them, I thought they were down with the event. Like that's the aura that they gave out. Where,
I get what you're saying.
Kind of like as if they were hired, but just kind of there. But a lot of them, and kind of blocked off half of the street. Walked in. I couldn't get right to the thing. I could hear ST-Nack on the mic though, so I knew he was performing. So it struck me kind of odd that I was just getting there. He was already on. So I figured, damn, maybe they got to close a little early. So I go in and saw my man Stain, a couple others that told me, yeah, they're gonna shut the thing down. So I immediately just kind of walked around, saw who I could see, and again, with not living in New York, the first few people I did see, it was people that I may only know through internet or whatever. So I'm kind of like introducing myself for the very first time, seeing them in person and whatnot. Once that wrapped up, ST-Nack's set was done and the whole show was done.
Wow.
So yeah, it was kind of like, everybody kind of leaving in haste, but not that like leaving just to go out front. Like they weren't like leaving the event because nobody really expected, what was going on or to have to leave. So the tables kind of were getting shut down. Everything's shut down. We walked outside. Maybe 5 minutes later, Stove God pulls up. So I know Stove God had all intent to show up and perform, but for whatever it's worth, ST-Nack was the last performance that they saw for the night. I'm glad I got to see him at least do 2 songs off the Nack saw. And yeah, peace to words, man. Like I said, for whatever it's worth, he got something done. He did his thing and whatnot. I don't know the exact science behind why they had to shut it down or anything like that. I can say, yes, the police were out there, but there was a heavy fire department presence, 2 fire trucks, all the dudes suited up, the different kind of cars that the the upper level department dudes kind of come in. And so, yeah, it seemed like a real code violation, fine kind of situation, not really cops, stopping the hip hop event kind of thing.
Trying to say what they refer to it as, like max capacity type of thing.
Something to that, thing there. Like I said, from hearing a little later, I guess the fire department went in there. They were looking around. Maybe there was an exit or entrance that wasn't set up, or it could have been anything. Like I said, I don't want to speculate. But again, it was, while the cops were there, it was not the cops saying like, hey, this has to stop or whatever, which was kind of what was being projected. But again, it was very weird. Again, I was there. The cops did not have get out of here energy. They didn't make anybody leave the block or anything like that. So it was just kind of weird. Nothing was really going on. I guess at the end of the day, the people that may have come from out of town and bought tickets and everything were just very happy that something was happening. Because we don't get too many events where you can just kind of gather, see everybody,
right,
buy actual merch and do all of that. So, for what it's worth, that was very peaceful, all went down and happened. I can also hear people's plight again. If you were somebody who say bought a ticket and only wanted to see Stove God perform, and you didn't get to see that, you may, have a different perspective.
Yeah.
But me looking at it, just kind of not expecting anything and just kind of wanting to be a part of something that was going on, in our lane, it was beautiful in that sense, especially happening in the Bronx. Again, fast shout to Words and everybody involved in putting that together. They definitely did their thing. And I could even say that while things may have been kind of hectic, I didn't get a shirt the day of, but they mailed me my shirt. So as soon as I got back, I had my joint. So so as far as my experience, they took care of me, and what I did get to see on both days was beautiful. You know what I mean? Even with everything getting cut short and whatnot. So overall, the review is, I hope Words or somebody or anybody can take that and move forward and do something again for the culture that everybody can kind of come out and experience, because we need a lot more of that.
And that's exactly how it should be. Definitely.
Indeed. And again, something just to look forward to, that we would have met in person, so it's things like that where I think you have a lot of people that are somewhat familiar with each other online, and we need these kind of events, even if they're once or twice a year, just to kind of make it all happen, meet in the flesh, and trade that kind of energy and stuff.
Yeah, that's another reason why I was hoping that there was another Top Show Premium Supply and Demand event, because it's very similar to that. You have
1000%.
all these people
so
all over. You got the vendors, you have the show going on. There's people just hanging out on a block.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful. I was at the second one, so this was maybe like 2 years ago. I actually DJ'd for Jamonte Agbon for his set. He went on right before YL and Stalker. And
I was there.
Just kind of took off from the so you know what I mean. I was fortunate enough to be a part of that, and again, beautiful thing, getting to see everybody and the fans and kind of touch base. And it it wasn't in the Bronx, but it was still New York City, so
great atmosphere.
Very beautiful. But yes, glad you brought that up, man. Peace to Mark. And man, events like Supply and Demand definitely need to happen at the least annually. You know what I mean? Just to kind of keep everybody wired in and connected. And sometimes that might be somebody's one and only shot. To kind of see somebody or get some vinyl signed or see a live performance from somebody in the lane that doesn't necessarily tour like that.
Definitely. And with that being said, we're going to give the listeners your off-top beat set.
Yes, indeed, man. Again, fast shout to Mark, everybody involved with the off-top season 8 situation. And yeah, man, I'm really glad he did the beat sets, because that was a plus right there.
Absolutely.
Beat terminal. Better ask somebody.
Exclusive Midas right there.
The beat terminal. Better ask somebody.
funny girl. All your first play. Way too funny girl. Way too funny girl. Way too funny girl. First play.
Now I'm gonna pause it right there.
Yes. Big up, man. Good looks for sharing that right there.
For those that want to listen to the whole thing, goes your link right there in the comments.
Yeah, tap that in, man. Make sure y'all save that. Make sure y'all comment on that and all that. Once again, man, peace to Mark and the whole Top Shelf movement.
Definitely. I still need to head out to his store over there in Hoboken.
He's got a really nice spot, man. Really nice situation, man. You could pick up a nice little, vintage piece, jacket, shirt, whatever. Get to hear some dope tunes. Deal with good people. You know what I mean? That nice little setup.
Yeah. Now, in the comments, big shout out to NJ to AK. This man is everywhere.
Indeed, he's naming some for sure shot names too, man. Peace to Soy Israel. Peace to I Make Mad Beats.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man, he's tapped.
He's all over.
Orlando heads. Yeah,
he's always talking on Southern Vanguard Radio, DJ Missile. Soy, he meant, like you just mentioned, he shouted out Soy is real. Him and DJ Sure Shot do their thing on Saturdays.
For sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, they got their thing going on, man. Soy does this thing all across the board, man. He has his Twitch thing going on. He's streaming on YouTube. He's everywhere with it, man. Very inspirational.
I love his sample challenges that he does when a fan gives him a sample.
Everything he does is very inspirational, and he's been a big help to me just on a one-on-one. Anytime I come at him with something or question anything, like he's always helpful and whatnot. So
definitely,
major love.
And for those that haven't heard it, go check out that Beanies and Snapbacks album.
Yes, recent release. Got some joints on there, and they also just released the Commission Beer Chamber mixtape. Soy Israel is heavily involved with that. He's got like 5 or 6 joints on there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're really tapped in, make sure you check for that.
Yes, indeed. And he's dropping dope remixes. And speaking of remixes,
he does it all.
You got to talk
remixes, man. Oh no, for sure. I mean, and again, we here to drop gems. For those who don't know, the remix is pretty much how I got into the lane. Aside from doing my thing with Midas the Beast. So Hus Kingpin dropped House of Kingpin. He had a mixtape, House of Kingpin. And I honestly don't even remember how I got hold of that acapella, because I only do official acapellas too. I won't like make the acapella myself, go through any kind of measures to strip the beat or anything. So yeah, I had gotten acapella, and I was already a big Killer Ben fan from the Do-Rag Dynasty and everything. So
yeah,
it was the acapella for the him and Killer Ben song, Writers too. And so I touched that up. I think I might have had that on my SoundCloud, and Hus Kingpin reached out to me. He shows me the link to the joint I put up, and he's like, "Yo, send me that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, no doubt." And so I sent it to him, and then once he got that, he was just like, "Let me get a couple beats and whatnot." Then recorded another song, and then he released the House of Kingpin 2 or the remix. I think it was the remix version of House of Kingpin. Mm-hmm. And he put both joints on there. So I got 2 joints on there that were both remixes that were, one was commissioned directly, from Hus himself. And the other one, again, I don't know how, I don't remember what got me to do it, but I do remember that since Killer Ben was on it, I immediately attacked it, put it out, and, it got his attention. So the first time a lot of people heard or saw Produced by Sharp was on House of Kingpin with those remixes right there. So the remix was very crucial, and even that, aside from the original production I've done for him, again, Hus reached out a little later on with a song he has with Willie the Kid, and so I was able to remix that, and then he put that on the following project. I think that was the might have been the Wave something, but yeah, Beautiful Murder. I was allowed to remix that and put that out with Huss. So the remix has just been a real integral part of what I've done and how I've been able to kind of get in the game, and it's also helped with producing, I could say as well. But yeah, the remix, man, the remix is crucial.
Yes, indeed.
Even just before that, there was a remix that I did for CL Smooth that was put out on an independent label that was doing something with CL Smooth and whatnot. So they were taking submissions, for some of the work and whatnot.
Okay.
So yeah, I had that kind of circulating, leading up to that. So yeah, a lot of the work or the early work that you would have seen or heard would have been in a remix form. If it wasn't Midas the Beast, then you wasn't getting original production.
Talk about that Rashid Chappelle 1520 remix you did.
Ooh, man. It was very satisfying for him to hit me up, less than an hour after I had submitted that, kind of directly to just kind of shout me out. Aside from what was going on with the whole remix thing, he just kind of personally was just like, "Yo, that's the one right there. That was hot." And yeah, it was a really good opportunity. I'm a drum broker customer. Fat shout to the drum brokers. So, it made sense when they sent the link. I think they were a part of that getting out and whatnot. So I had heard it from them and immediately kind of jumped on it. Piece of DJ Eclipse too. I had already had the opportunity through him to kind of submit some work for Rashid. I was always a fan of his and whatnot. So by the time the remix got to his ear, he had heard a couple tracks. We've obviously got mutual friends and whatnot. But again, all the satisfaction was right there. At that point, it didn't matter whether I had won or got submitted or anything like that. Once I got the reply from him, I was on. Plus, it only made sense. The song is a 1520 reference to the building on Sedgwick Ave. That's where I'm from. So no matter what, I probably wasn't going to let that one slide. They needed the sharp Sedgwick remix on that.
Definitely. And y'all need to go tune in for that Rashid Chappelle Sugar Bills.
Oh yeah.
You just put the vinyl up to the pre-order. Actually, I don't even think it's a pre-order. I think you got the vinyl.
He's ready. Yeah. They're ready with that. So that's a good look. Make sure they tap in for that. He was just live with Parks and them, related to the remix contest and whatnot. And again, it's not that you can hear him, on all the recent mix shows and everything like that. His stuff is circulating real nice. So fat shop.
Definitely. Now, before we talk about your upcoming projects, tell us about Taurus.
Taurus. Yes. So Taurus, the bull with pull. That's my sign. I was born in April. And yeah, so the Taurus album that he's holding in his hand, a few little gems on that. The cover work there is an actual picture for all my hip hop Twitter people that are familiar with the wonderful Calzingas. You know what I mean? Yeah. So got the permission. She sent that through. I was able to splash that. And it was actually the color palette because it kind of stemmed from looking at some Taurus stuff. A lot of the original imagery kind of had that color palette. And then maybe around that same time, she had posted that pic or whatever. And I was just like, yo, do you own that? Because I couldn't even really tell it was her. It looked like a photo, So I was, more so like, yo, do you own this? And she was like, yeah, that's mine, blah, blah. And, we worked it out. So, fat shout to her. She blessed me with the cover work. And at the time, like I said, I was kind of late to the whole digital recording and stuff and all of that. So I decided that album there would be straight out of the MPC. Wouldn't be like mixed in the digital realm or anything like that. So it's just like make the beats on the MPC, burn it right out to, what you're hearing right there. And that was just more of like a testament to always just working on MPCs. There was a time where it was just the headphones and the MPC, no computer around or anything. So I kind of wanted, my album to have that experience where it was just like I gave you a burnt CD right out of the MPC. So that was the whole theme behind that. If you notice, all of the track titles are the same names of the star constellations in Taurus. So, some people may see the song titles and notice that it's not regular English, and that's because those are actual stars from the Taurus alignment right there. So, everything kind of ties in with that. That was the very first CD only release. I didn't do any cassettes for that. And the CDs are kind of like a special edition, have the vinyl finish on there.
Yep.
So it's a nice piece. If you got yours direct from me, it's probably signed and whatnot. And yep, as you can see. So yeah, man, that was a real personal album right there. Like again, it's just me, the MPC, throw it on a CD, make it look real good for the fans. A lot of people thought it was the 45. I mean, it's a type of vinyl, but we went with the vinyl look on the CDs. Fast shout to my man Vaughn Clay. He helped snap all the photos for that, all the press photos and everything I was able to use for the selling on that. And yeah, man, that was a really good release for me right there. That was definitely at a time too where things were about to start to pick up. Me and Midas, we're coming off of our release, and I just kind of wanted to follow up with something solid. And not a lot, and even still, but not a lot of producers are just doing instrumental stuff like that, outside of the big names and stuff. So, I kind of wanted to represent right there and just kind of have that out. And big up to you, man. You've got a good collection of the actual sharp music right there, man. And anybody watching this has to catch up.
There you go. And then 2021 was, a pretty good year for you too.
Indeed.
What do you have? I Eat What I Catch EP.
That's right. Shirt linked up, and I was able to add on to his discography, which is amazing. And that was a follow-up back in the SoundCloud era, maybe like 2015, around that time. I was also part of a thing he had done where he was releasing songs on SoundCloud with a few producers. So I was, able to be a part of that. So any opportunity, I have to work with Shirt, jump on that. He's a very futuristic. He's a futurist, basically. Really, really autistic, super skilled rapper, straight from the city. So yeah, was fortunate enough to dig with him. Me and Midas the Beast, we dropped that live nigga rap in and around that same time. We were fortunate enough, actually, the stuff that people heard the next year that was on the Gold Chain album, I actually recorded that in 2021. So a lot of stuff that ended up coming out and following up in the last year was actually those seeds and that work was planted, 2021. So like you said, even while stuff was kind of coming out and surfacing, we were out hitting the ground, going to see the people. Even for everything to come out, I have a rule where I have to have met anybody that I produce for in person.
Oh.
Yeah, so you mentioned Shirt. He's literally the only person I have like published music out with that I haven't like met in person in the flesh. Anybody else, I've at least seen them, even if it was a hey, how you doing? Quick in passing or whatever. But yeah, just golden general rule. I try to, even if it's a little later on after, or just before it comes out. But again, anybody that I work with, I try to make sure I met, in the flesh, in person. It's a bonus if we get to hit the studio together, which I also prefer. But I understand how things work, with the whole email thing, and everybody has their own kind of space where they, get things done and whatnot. So, I'm cool operating like that as long as it's with somebody that at some point in time I sat in the same room with. Yeah,
I can respect that.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I try to have that be a major factor in who I produce for and whatnot.
Yeah, and then also that same year, Ito. with
Indeed.
Efforts and Siamese.
Yes, indeed. Peace to Ito. Fortunate enough to again have worked with him and met him in person. He actually had some fam in and around Orlando, so when he was able to touch down, we kind of linked up, and everything was organic. Got to do all the stuff that we have in person and whatnot. And even just hearing his stuff, even dating back to the stuff he did with V Don and everything, I was always a fan. So that was a really positive link up. Even one of the times he came down to Florida was when he was filming for the Ito Brigante DVD project.
Okay.
So everybody who has that, they probably spotted me in there. Played a little role in that with him and whatnot. So like I said, every time he comes out, we're fortunate enough to link up. Just saw him recently in the BX for the cookout and stuff. So yeah, that that had dropped. Yeah, a lot of major stuff on the catalog there was coming out.
Yeah. And one of my favorites from Delaware, All Hail YT.
Peace to All Hail YT. That is a stand-up dude right there. Yes. Originally from Texas, and he's been putting in work from the Texas days. A lot of folks don't remember, even from the magazine era. He was coming up with a posse, that was down in Texas and stuff. And they were under Bun B and everything. So yeah, man, he had been putting in work ever since. And I actually picked up on him. I was a fan of Left Lane to Dawn.
Yep.
And that crew that was putting out stuff or whatever, and the opportunity was put out. And even with some of the stuff where a rapper that I'm really messing with will put out, hey, I'm doing features, and I might kind of use that opportunity maybe just to kind of introduce myself and build something. Maybe if I'm not tapped in for a feature right at that moment, but I know at least at that moment they're kind of susceptible to take in an email or a DM from somebody that they don't know like that. So those are usually good opportunities. Somebody that I don't know at all or have any mutual friends, I can kind of take advantage, kind of tap in. And yeah, someone like him, stand-up dude, all about his business, and definitely got that skill, man. I was a fan of his work. A lot of the earlier stuff he had did with my man Benji Socrates.
Yep.
So I was tapped in from there. Oh yeah, solid dude, man. Solid young cat, man. That's my nephew right there. And yeah, man. We connected, started shooting him some tracks, doing that back and forth thing, and then we kind of brought him out to Miami, filmed the video, hit the water, spent some time together and whatnot, and finished up the stuff in the lab and banged it out. So people got a full project, video and everything. And for the most part, aside from producing it and being a part side by side, he pretty much themed everything. He had the whole vision. So again, big up to All Hail YT, man. That's a stand-up dude, and you might even hear some more work with him.
I definitely look forward to that. Man. And then you linked up with J Plus.
J Plus, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
For sure. So even that was quite a few years in the making when I had first started going out to Charlotte. Big up to Lord Jamonte Ogban. That is the #1 plug right there. He is the real plug. You know what I mean? The people plug. That's one of the most genuine brothers that I met in this lane. You know what I mean? For someone that I didn't grow up with or anything like that, I rock with that dude, man. That's my main mellow right there. Really good brother. Keeps good people around him. And yeah, man. Honestly, I linked up with him and might have seeded into about 3 separate projects with people that I met directly through Jamonte. Nice. So just to kind of give you a perspective, like, he is that dude. And yeah, one of those people being J Plus. I had heard him on a few Jamonte projects, got to beat him through Jamonte, and then we just kind of formulated our own thing. Fast shout to Mike Digi. They had done some work at the time, and he had dropped that cassette, tapped in, and right around there we had pretty much started recording our stuff. And again, this was a few years ago, so most of the work that people end up hearing, they're not only a few years in the making, but again, it's something that I made kinetic with somebody that I've been in the same room with. It's not some strictly through the internet, send me this, I send you that, send you this, and then it hits the waves. So people can kind of count on that genuine link up anytime it's me involved.
And that's one of the things I appreciate about you. You want to really work with the people and have it be organic, not just
for sure,
not just a business transaction. You trying to build with the people.
No, for sure, and even to that point, I've actually, I guess you could say, turned down or missed out on opportunities simply because there wasn't that factor. I'm not in it just to kind of be the beat maker. If you notice, there were on the rise of the wave with like Droog and Markami, and again, this is no shade and no disrespect, but you'll notice you wouldn't see any produced by credits. You'll just see beats by. You know what I mean? And I bring that up just to say I'm not down to just kind of provide beats to someone else's situation. I've got to produce it even in the most minimal sense. I don't have to have my hands on it in the mix or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I'm the composer. It's going to be part of my publishing, you know what I mean? So I'm at least that involved. And so when I say I missed opportunities or may have turned down opportunities, there's a lot of people that you see ending up with their beats on certain projects, and 9 times out of 10 it's because they pretty much just gave it away. You can find on Twitter not too long ago even projects as hot as something like Naxaw will stir up some producer mad about something, you know what I mean? And I don't want to call out nobody like specifically because it's happened on multiple albums. But just to say it's a little too common that there's a mad producer before there's a mad rapper when these projects start really buzzing and stuff like that. So I've always tried to work in a capacity where I put myself in a position to safely avoid being mad at the end. Because we've met, we've talked, and we've done everything. So even from then on, I can do email business with you for the next few years or whatever. Because I done sat down with you, and I done kicked it with you, and you know who I am, I know who you are, and so I can kind of have that kind of safety and assurance as opposed to I just emailed you 3 tracks and I'm just crossing my fingers hoping something that you put out is over one of those beats. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of dudes in this lane getting opportunities doing just that. And so me not being down to do that, that's why I say you might not have seen me on other things and been on other projects with, rappers that I do somewhat have an association with, or even if it's just DM or email or something like that, them asking for beats or anything like that. But once it gets to the point of like, all right, how's this going to be put out? I'm a little too specific about things. And maybe it's just being old school or from the label era or anything like that, but you just kind of got to cover yourself, especially with the way that music is set up now with streaming and everything. Yeah, it's just it's in a real tight position, man, and it's not like tons of money to be made in the sense of like putting out rap music. So you just kind of want to cover yourself and even just be ready for best case scenario. If HBO comes back and wants to use this song, and if it was a beat that you just sent to somebody and you have no kind of credit, nothing involved, they may have just put down everything on the publishing on their end, and they're pretty much in line to benefit from a situation where you could have benefited just naturally because you're supposed to if you're the composer. So it's little things like that. And again, being familiar with like how the sync licensing works and whatnot has kind of made me a little more strict with how I produce and do music. So
Okay.
yeah, aside from having to meet somebody and whatnot, usually there's got to be some kind of understanding that everything's going to kind of be done properly. I'm going to be registering the songs, as the composer and everything that kind of comes with it. So, trying to kind of keep that motto this way, I can kind of practice what I preach. I always tell young producers and whatnot, sign up. You're a composer, you're a songwriter. So,
At the end of the day, yeah, you have control of everything.
no, for sure, for sure. And it's worked, even in situations where, and again, there's not tons of money involved in streaming, but you can get that DistroKid money and the money that the publishing is going to give you, on top of that. So gotta get everything you can,
DistroKid. I hope y'all are paying attention what he just said. A lot of people been telling me. I mean, I'm not the DJ, I'm not an MC, but I'm paying attention, and you're not the first to mention them.
No, for sure, man. If like I said, any producers tapped in listening now, trying to get your foot in, just take that week off, hit the computer, you know what I mean? Log up, get an account, ASCAP, BMI, something, get set up. And again, it's not to say, you need it, but any big opportunity that can come your way in regards to the music is going to involve that. And if you don't have it set up yourself, someone else will gladly set it up for you for your piece of the pie.
With all this experience, and you got the fully produced J Plus project out, what else are we about to expect from Sharp?
Ooh, yes, indeed. So, plan on planting this flag in the Bronx as far as the lane goes. And again, it's no shade, no disrespect to anybody from the Bronx doing their thing. But me and my man Stack Skrilla have wrapped up an album. And, we just put the finishing touches on that, put the icing on the cake, so to speak, put it in the box and all that. So make sure you stay tuned. If you're not tapped in, that's Stack Skrilla, no trick spelling. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, follow up or, follow up with me and you'll be getting all the news on that. But we definitely just finished up our, full length. So you'll be, dealing with that towards the end of the year and, next year as well. I also just, again, put the icing on the God Fahim project that I produced. Ooh. So people will be getting that. That's called The Blacker the Berry. And again, fully produced by Sharp, no features, all God Fahim. So just beats and raps for the people. That'll be a lovesharp.net exclusive. So if you're not already tapped online on the website, please do that so you could, be very, very in tune when that drops. And of course, I wouldn't be doing things if I wasn't doing things with Midas the Beast. So along with everything that he's got going on, he's the feature MC on my next album titled DuPont Registry. And we, just capped all that off, getting all the visuals in play now. And, a lot of treats involved for the people, when it comes to that album there. They know what to expect from me and Midas, so we're not cutting them short. We already set the bar and we stepping over it. So, yeah, man, Midas the Beast, Sharp, DuPont Registry. The God Fahim, produced by Sharp, Blacker the Berry. And Sharp and Stack Skrilla, fully produced by Sharp. Again, no features. Actually, these three projects that I mentioned are no features involved at all. It's just me and the MC.
They don't need them.
Beats and raps, yeah, So all that feature stuff, we could save that for something else, maybe for that Planet Asia Midas the Beast album. I got some joints on. No, I might be giving y'all too much, but yes, it's a lot that's about to happen, man. I need everybody, even if you're not catching this live, man, you're not too late. You're not too late. So yeah, be sure to tap in, man. A lot going on. Again, fast shout to Stack Skrilla, God Fahim, Midas the Beast, and And yeah, man, anybody that you thought I was gonna be working with, I'm probably working with. Fat shout out to Jamonte, fat shout out to a few others. So yeah, man, we'll line all that up. But you can definitely get those three closing out the year and kicking off next year. So we
All
here,
dope
man. We
right
here.
there, man.
Here. And you heard that here first.
There you go.
I never said that. So yes. Fat shout to NJ2AK. Mad
Yes,
Heat
indeed.
is on the way. Yo, he couldn't have said it best, man. That Mad
Yep.
Heat is definitely on the way.
Wow, man. Salute to you, man.
Yo, trying to stay busy, man. I'm grateful to be able and to be in the setting and be able to do what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to take full advantage, man. It's you either not promise tomorrow or you're gonna be stuck with 1,000 tomorrows. Yeah, you gotta figure it out. But either way, man, you gotta play it right.
Talent with more talent. Much
Trying,
respect.
man. We're trying.
Now, one of the few questions I do have left
Yeah.
is the origin of the name and the caps.
Oh man, very good one. So peace to my man Crazy Vu, my man's Wadi. Yeah, that's like my big brother mentor. So my best friend Rec Low, that's his older brother, and he is the first guy that I ever played beats for. And when I say that, like I used to, I mentioned cassettes before. I used to just record the instrumental records and just have the beats on cassette.
Mhm.
And so when Rec told me that his brother wanted some beats, I was like, yeah, I got some beats. And right after school, my man called me. He was like, y'all want to hear some beats? So I had to cue up the tapes, put the headphone speaker to the phone, and let him hear the beats to the rhyme, instrumental, and I was doing the pause tape stuff. So I had a couple like special ed joints and stuff where they let the beat run at the end, and I kind of just like made the beat out of that.
Right.
So I was already fronting, but I had some beats. So yeah, that's the first dude I played beats for. He's the first one to rap on beats that I made. So this is my man Z. Right when we was gonna form a crew or whatever, I was a super big Lord Finesse fan, and he had that album, The Funky Technician.
Yeah.
So when it came time to name, and on some b-boy shit, I hadn't really started graphing yet or nothing like that, but I came from an era where aside from a name throw up, you don't really name yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna earn your name, or someone on the block, someone gonna give you your name. You don't name yourself. Outside of like, okay, I'm gonna rap, my name is gonna be blank. You know what I mean? But so when it came that time, I told my man Z, I said, yo, I need a name. I know I want to use technician. I mean, I don't want to be the technician, but I think I want technician in my name. You know what I mean? But I need a name. And I want to say the next day he came back. He's like, yo, I got it, bro. Sharp Technician. And that was me, man. Sharp Technician, Sharp T for short. Any of the first flyers that you'll see in the DJ capacity or anything like that, it'll say Sharp T. The T was for technician. So Sharp Technician, was the first, version of me in the rap world, and me exercising rap. And from there, it went to technology. So the technician became technology. So yeah, right around 98, 99, came back from Atlanta. It's like, yo, it's not Sharp Technician no more, Sharp Technology. It was, this way the Sharp T kind of still worked, but just the T meant something else. And it worked well. We was on that advanced circuitry stuff, and so yeah, Sharp Technology, was it for a minute. And then on some MC Hammer shit, I just dropped the technology, and I was just Sharp, like, and even while being Sharp Technician and Sharp Technology, obviously short, no one walked up to me, and sometimes people will call me technology or technician, but they would just say Sharp. You know what I mean? Like once they knew me in the hip hop capacity, so people were already calling me Sharp. So again, not something that I invented, but even when I, would call myself Sharp Technician, Sharp Technology, people would say Sharp on some shorthand, referring to me. And so again, through that, exercising that, and then, meeting people and just going by Sharp, I just finally dropped the T. It's like no more technology, no more T, no nothing. It's just sharp.
Just sharp.
And to kind of emphasize that, like, yo, it's no more technology. It's just sharp, like all caps, period. Like, that's it. That's it. So the period really just kind of came like end of sentence. That's it.
That's it.
There's nothing more to it. Yeah, because
All
there
right.
used to be more to it. You know what I mean? So I had to kind of cut it off to say, like, look, that's it. It's just sharp, period. You know what I mean? All caps. So it's there. And yeah, that's pretty much the origin, man. Peace to my man Z, man, crazy. He titled me Sharp Technology, a Sharp Technician. I came with Sharp Technology and then just dropped all the T stuff, and that's where we are today. Just Sharp, period, all caps.
Mm-hmm. There you have it.
Yeah, no.
The origin story right there.
Oh yeah, that dates back too. I probably became Sharp Technician in 1990. So, yeah.
Now, do you handle all of your recording and production at the Beat Terminal?
So the background you see now is the Beat Terminal.
Okay.
And I consider this a pre-production setup. So while I may have everything I need to record and fully produce a song, I pretty much just handle the production here. A little traditional in the sense I rather take it from here to a studio or to somebody and let somebody else put their hands on it. Somebody that mixes and engineers like the way I consider myself a producer. You know what I mean? Like someone who kind of just does just that. Fat shout to my man Florida Man. That's a personal engineer that I have. If I ever need some of my beats mixed, in a professional manner, they go straight to him. He's got the ear for it. But yeah, I'm the type of dude, even once I finish here, kind of get it how I want it to sound, and then I'm very comfortable with letting someone else fine tune it, get their hands on it. Even the stuff that's done totally in-house, like something like me and Midas, I'm doing all the beats here, he's recording all the vocals there, and then we're letting somebody put the mix down and bring it all together. So even in the most in-house sense, I'm not fully doing the beats and vocals all in one place, though I am capable to do it here. And eventually you may hear some published works or something come out that was done all here, but that's not the intent. Usually I just cook up in here, get the ideas started in here, do all the business from here, handle my interviews with the good people in here, and there's usually a stage leaving here before it gets to the outside world.
Okay. Dope. Now we interviewed on HHDG Media another dope, talented DJ from your area, and that is DJ Dolo 76.
Indeed, fat shout to Dolo. Probably can't see the album in the background.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Yes, fat shout to Dolo, man. He actually does production work as well. He's heavy on the beats. I don't know if you know, but yeah, he does some beats. He's actually featured on me and YL All Hell YT project. He did the cuts for a couple joints on there.
That's right. Yep.
He's been doing a lot of work with Loretta. He's always laid down cuts, for various artists and stuff like that. So he's very present, as a DJ, but also as a producer, man. Don't sleep. He's got the beats.
Definitely. Let me see if I got something.
Yeah, that's good. You've been pulling out all the media all day.
That's the one that you already got.
Anybody who know what he's, yeah, there we go. See, we was able to pull up 2 dope joints. So I got the alternate cover hippo sign. Yep. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, Dolo got that workout, as you guys could evidently see. Make sure y'all follow up on him, man. DJ Dolo, he's out here.
Still bumping that ill concept project he did with the whole aliens.
Oh, film. Word. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. You tapped in. Yeah, for sure.
Dope.
No, he does good work, man. The footage from the Renaissance show that my man DJ Mastermind put together, And fast shout to DJ Mastermind. That's another dope brother. You may want to have one here if I could help line that up, man. He's been involved in the lane for a minute. Solid DJ. His cuts are incredible. He did some cuts for me on some stuff I got coming out with AJ Suede. And he's technically residential. He lives around the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually around the way, and I didn't even know it. Didn't know him, didn't know of him. I needed the people plug, Jamonte. He was out here with me, and then Mastermind kind of tapped him like, "Hey, what are you doing? In Palm Bay?" And he was just like, "Oh, I'm with Sharp and blah blah blah." And so he kind of made the connection, and we've been down ever since. But he does tight work, man. Like I said, he did a couple joints for the Vino and Knack and a couple others. And like I said, he does some solid DJ work and whatnot. So, I try to plug that. So yeah, he's out here. We got a lot of DJs, in and from the area, that do their thing and get busy. Man.
That's always a plus to hear that.
For sure, man.
Yeah,
we'll DJ culture.
About having him on the show.
Hell yeah! If I can help out with that, man, let me know.
Mm. And I'm currently also working on getting Soy is Real and the other MC from Beanies and Snapbacks. What's his name? I'm throwing a blank right now. Nala Diaz?
Okay. Yes. What you call it? He was. They were both just at the Commission Beer Chamber release and whatnot. But yeah, man, Soy is Real, great brother. Great mind to kind of tap into too. I'm sure he's got tons of gems. Being a successful, streamer and producer as well.
Yep. Now, is the Commission Beer Chamber the place to be right now?
For the most part, yeah, man. That's just a really dope Wu-Tang themed beer and wine spot set up in Orlando. If you're not tapped in, just Commission Beer Chamber on Instagram or anywhere. Major shout out to Benny. He's the main guy over there. And yeah, he just kind of curated a dope situation for, like-minded individuals to just kind of hang out,
right,
be around each other, and, just kind of feed the culture. And it makes sense. Orlando just kind of needed a place like that. They already had the people and the community for it. So again, fast shout to Benny. He kind of built it, and they came. You know what I mean? And so yeah, he's been so supportive of the movement and everybody involved. Everybody just kind of got together and said like, yeah, we need to throw a mixtape together just to kind of showcase all the talent from the people that you could kind of see here naturally on any given day.
That's fine.
So yeah, that was a lot of positive energy behind that. And again, that's very fresh. The project just released last week. So Commission Beer Chamber, yeah, man, Orlando.
So they got their own craft beer and everything in there going on.
A few select craft beers, yeah, man. He deals with a lot of reps. Reps are constantly in and out of there trying to get this stuff in there and whatnot. So he's got a lot going on that way. I personally, I don't drink alcohol, so I'm not as tapped in, with the beers and all of that. But again, I know that's the spot. Like, the beer community and the whole beer chamber and everything, wouldn't be really a thing, if there wasn't a lane for it and stuff like that. So he's perfect, really filled in that market.
And I'm gonna plug our whole HHDG Media Inc. friends who are owners of Hackensack Brewery.
Ooh.
This guy are also hip hop to the grain. Right now,
that would be a beautiful look. Yeah.
Right now, they have their themes on the weekends during the summer. I think it's like every third weekend. They have Special K and Teddy Ted out there from Awesome.
That's dope. Yep.
Lord Sia DJs there.
So they have a select few cats.
Yeah, definitely. And on Wednesdays they got their whole Woo Wednesday theme and everything. So
dope. Yeah, you'll have to put me on, man. Commission's in the same lane, man. They do a Woo Wednesday with Midas the Beast. I DJ there every first Thursday of the month. I play straight classics, so nothing but the hits. And like I said, they're constantly doing things. Sawyer's Real got his night, and they just celebrated their 3rd-year anniversary. Held a big block
Nice.
party, had all the food trucks out there, and culminated with the mixtape release performance and everything. So yeah, real active in the community in the same way. Yeah, man. So
That's great. Yep.
And yeah, you got to tap me in with people that way, man.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Like stuff.
Definitely go chill up there next time you're up here.
1000%. Yeah, man. Sounds like a real dope movement, man. I'm a sucker for all the classic DJs. I forget what they call themselves, but when like Tony Touch, D Nice, I think it's Medina and Clark Kent, when they all get together.
The originals.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yep.
I've been fortunate enough to kind of see them when they get to Miami and when they're on the move. And I love it. Yeah, man. I love
man.
all the
they keeping the whole culture going, And
no, for sure, man.
Like I said, just like what the whole Commission Beer Chamber's doing, they keeping it going as well.
No, we need that too. We kind of need that, man. It's like I was telling you about the whole new space and everything. It's funny to see people that are of age and everything that just don't have the history. You know what I mean? Like they're like half my age, but again, that's puts them in their mid-20s, and they just weren't around for a lot of that stuff, so they don't have the context. They could sit and listen to Black Moon and J. Rule all day, but they don't have the context. You know what I mean? Of the times, to really think. So, I never kind of looked through that perspective, whatever. So it's really crazy to see nowadays, people kind of picking up on music that, they don't really have the context behind, what was coming out and whatnot.
It's amazing, right?
Indeed. No, for sure, man. Hip hop taking off. Oh, I see you got the link in the comments too. Again, fast shout to J Plus.
Yep. Throw that up in there.
We had the joint with YL getting some burn. You might have heard that on a few radio stations and whatnot. So fast shout to the boppers. We got DFNS on there. So check for that right there, man. That's an organic piece of work.
Sharp. With the period. That's it.
All caps with the period.
Appreciate it. Time.
No, I'm grateful, man. Grateful for the opportunity, man. Thank you so much, Ian. Great to finally catch up.
Definitely looking forward to those projects, which, by the way, we interviewed Stack Skrilla on here recently, as well as Midas the Beast.
See what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, the people are tapped in, man. It's all together here.
Definitely. So, floor is yours. Shout outs and let everyone know where you can contact and support Sharp.
1000%, man. First and foremost, shout to you. Shout to the whole HHDG media situation. Grateful for the opportunity. Anybody that I did not mention in the telling of my story or anything like that, I got to give a mega shout to Al Dope. Fat shout to Rob Tehran. I always do a call out for Messiah Singleton. I haven't seen him since I was a child. I don't know if he's still alive or anything like that, but Messiah Singleton, wherever you at, wherever you are, man, it's love. And then the crew, man, the whole Hazardous Sounds, my man Lob Mills, Ja Peasy, Take It Easy, Vaughn Clay, Rec Low. Shout out to NJ2AK, everybody that tapped in on the live chats. And all my peoples, man, like, anybody that was mentioned. And, if he wasn't, you get the Bozak. I always wanted to say that. Remember, they used to like just straight diss everybody else. It was just like everybody else get the Bozak. Everybody else, you whack. Like, oh. But no, man, I miss that kind of unity, man. And I know you're from like reading the liner notes and things like that, and just the shout out section on everybody's album and shit like that. And it's just that feeling like, you get the Big Daddy Kane album and the first shout out is Ice-T, and you're just like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like,
really?
You never knew. Yeah, you never visioned. Yeah, you're just sitting there thinking they worlds apart, but like very first name you see is Ice-T type shit. But yeah, I miss that. And that's why I'm kind of like a sucker for these events. I'm really behind, anytime these events happen, because I think it would just be better for the overall lane if all the suckers got out the way and everybody really, really like got together, like in person together, really got that build out the way. And I think it would just help the entire situation, producers, rappers, everybody and everything. So
Definitely.
yeah, man, keep it positive. And again, man, fresh out to you. Keep doing what you do. And yeah, man, peace and love to everybody.
Definitely. Salute to you, everyone tuning in. It Takes a Village is out by J Plus and Sharp. Be on the lookout for the projects.
All that work. I'll give you even more, man, before the end of the year. If you know about AJ Suede, he's that guy. And yeah, we got some work about to drop on y'all. So just all types of hip hop, man, coming out. All types of hip hop, man, produced by Sharp.
There you go. And on behalf of our HHDG Media crew, we're going to say peace.